thank you all of you who are joining us on Facebook and on our website, and who will join us later on YouTube. So thank you so much, everyone, for being here today and spending this time. I love this time of year because this is the time of year when we get to just look back, right, and reflect on all the things that happen. Because when we're in the middle of something, it just seems, oh my gosh, what's happening? And it's hard to get a hold of. But looking back on it, you can kind of see that God is with you everywhere you go. And that's really what I want to talk about, that life goes on. It just goes on. And we are here in this place, in this New Thought Center, because of the people who came to this country wanting religious freedom, wanting to be able to worship the way they wanted to. And that's why, so life goes on. We leave legacies for other people to stand on and be a part of. And that's what I so love about this time of, That's what I so love about this time of year, is reflecting. And then also looking forward and making our demands about how we want our new year to look as we start that off tomorrow. So I shared a story with you a while back when I came back from the cruise about this comedian was telling a story about how he just can't stand for people to say to him, it's going to be all right. Everything's going to be all right. He said, you don't know. You don't know that. Actually, we do. And so do you. So do you. And so I just want to talk about, how do we know that things are going to be all right? It's not just a pat and a trite saying. It is true. And not just true for me, true for you. And you know that it is true by reflecting on your life, on what has happened, and how you've come through. And I share the story of when my son was, the reason why my son moved here. And he was just so aggravated. He was in Colorado and just could not get a promotion, even though everyone was telling him how wonderful he was and what a great job he was doing. And he'd go on interview after interview after interview and just couldn't get a job. And he was so frustrated. 2 years. He had a job, he couldn't get a promotion. Just 2 years, he couldn't understand, well, what is happening? And so finally his wife said, you know what, hey, why don't you just look outside of Colorado? Let's just stop looking. And so he did that. And so he's here now. He's here, he's a golden boy, he's just doing so wonderful. His family's doing great. They have a wonderful home. He's so happy to be here. And we do a thing every year where we think about and we ponder on what is our word for the year. I shared that with you guys. Like, what is your word for the year? And mine is persist. Just persist. Just keep moving forward until what you want. And it's different than being unrelenting. I'm not unrelenting, I'm just persistent with what I know is true for me. Yeah, and so that's my word. And so my son's word, and we shared this on our family text. We have a family text, and we share all these things, and we were sharing what our word is. And his word was grace. Grace, because now he looks back, and he sees exactly where God was and all the things he was trying to do, and how he is at the absolute best place he could possibly be. But he couldn't see it from the place he was. He can see it now, looking back. And that's what we can, I love those. You look so cool, girlfriend.
There's a bright light behind me going.
She has these great red glasses on there. Anyway, so we get to do that. We get to look back on our lives. And so I just want to assure you that you're going through something and you think, what in the world is going on? You may not understand, because we're not given to know exactly where it's going to go. If we knew where it was going to go, we probably wouldn't go there. We probably wouldn't step into it. So we don't know, and that's a good thing. But when we get there, we can look back and go, oh, yeah, Spirit was with me all along. And I think about this holiday season, as many of you know, there was a lot of, well, first of all, there was the storms and people just getting killed in the storms, and airlines just canceling flights left and right. And so my kids went to Colorado for Christmas to visit their family there, and my daughter-in-law's sister and all that. And so they were trying to go, and they were going to fly. They love Southwest, and they got all these tickets, all these bonus points, whatever. So they were going to go, and they thought, oh, no, we have too many presents, so, let's go ahead and drive. And they've got a great, because they've been in Colorado, so they've got a great car to drive. So then they were thinking about driving. And then they hear all this weather stuff, and oh my God, it's a good idea to drive, maybe we should fly. And they thought, well, we want to take the dog, so we're gonna have to drive. So they started packing up the car with all the presents and stuff, and there was no room for the dogs. And so they're like, well, dang it. So they called up Grandma. Like, what are you doing? You're not going anywhere. You don't have a life, do you? So, no, as a matter of fact, I don't. So go ahead. So they brought the dogs, and I had a really great time. I had a really great time with the dogs. But anyway, so they drive up, and they have, my son has an older daughter. She lives in Idaho. So they used the Southwest points and had her fly from Idaho to Denver to meet with the other kids. And so they all are just fine. Everything's wonderful. But then they're getting ready to come back. And there was no problem with driving, no snow problems in the middle of December, going to Colorado, no problems at all, just a beautiful trip. So they're in Denver, and they're going to drop the daughter off at Denver International Airport, which is normally what they do. She's 21 years old. They're going to drop her off and then keep going. But then they decided, you know what, no, let's just stay with her. And then, of course, her flight got canceled. And they thought, oh, okay, well, shoot. And they couldn't get another one. So they said, hey, we got the car. Go back to DFW with us. Be with the family, and then we'll fly you out of DFW. So she came back. We got to visit with her, the whole family. We went over to their house. We had a wonderful time, and she flew out of DFW on Friday. Looking forward, they couldn't get the hell out of Dallas, right? It's like, what is happening? But looking back and seeing everything that came together, she would have been stranded. She would have been there by herself if they hadn't been there. And so it worked. Everything works out. Everything's going to be all right. Believe that. Even when you're going through it and you can't see how it's going to be all right, it's going to be all right. And so I'm going to share, I got permission to share this story because this is a beautiful story of how you don't know why you're going through it, but you know now that you've gone through it, everything is going to be all right, and what we were set up to do. So as you know, the Sigmas, that whole family is going through it because their grandson, Liam, he's 7 years old, has lost his leg because of cancer. And so, and then all of the things that go with that, with the healing of that, and still having to do chemo and just a lot of things. So the daughter, all of us, we write on this online journal called The Caring Bridge. And so whenever there's any updates or whatever, we get on there, we send him little pictures and little love, and he sends us love, and it's just really a beautiful thing. So on December 25th, Jane got on, and she wrote this letter. And I want to read some of it to you. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'll read it to you. Oh, Holy Night, December 25th, 2022, by Jane Sigma. Good evening. Our evening concluded with Liam and Lucas, the younger one, saying, "The best Christmas ever!" We are at the end of December, 2 days before Liam goes back into the hospital. And these next few weeks will be 3 weeks back to back of chemo, only coming home for the weekend. That schedule is set. This week marks 4 months since Liam's diagnosis and 6 weeks post-surgery. We know this is our life now, and we know things can change quite rapidly, but this is the night of Jesus' birth. Liam's favorite Christmas carol is Silent Night. Jonathan's is Hark the Herald Angels, but the family fave is O Holy Night. O holy night, the stars are brightly shining. A thrill of hope, the world rejoices. Long lays the world in sin and error pining. It is the night of the dear Savior's birth. For a while now, the words of that song have been resonating with me. Till he appeared and the soul felt its worth. It is the reason to be, but it is required for God to be present with you. That is required. Our kids were amazed to see the Christmas tree this morning. What my beautiful babies don't quite realize is this great peace we felt to have so much help. The importance was not just on the gifts from so many, but from all the prayers spoken, written, whispered, cried out, and otherwise expressed to God on our Liam's behalf, and for our whole family these last few months. It feels longer, like it's been years. And how wonderful to see support from sources we live in every day, and how humbling to see it come in ways only God could orchestrate. Along with our family and friends and our current and past employers, friends and followers, leaders, Roger and Sue Harris. They lead our small group and in and out in unimaginable ways. They cover us in joy beyond words. FBCA, and I'm thinking this is the church they go to? Okay, First Baptist? Mm-hmm. First Baptist faculty and staff show so much love to our family. We believe they have families front and center of their goals. First Baptist pastors and staff keep us in their prayers, and we love them. Bill and I can recall the pull in our hearts to join this small group at First Baptist Church, and how enriched we always felt being part of this ministry, because we were learning so much. We also were very much on board to start Liam there at the kindergarten. I think that this is what the song lyric is telling me. We didn't know it then, but God was going to show for us in the biggest way possible through them and the many connections that we have in our community. We know, without a shadow of a doubt, God loves us through them and the many, many, many groups and organizations and families and friends that we have met. Here is God appearing before us and in our life, in our heart and our soul. And we are being brightened and reminded of its value, and that gives us hope. We thank you for your prayers. You are in our tears of joy. Merry Christmas. Who wouldn't, if they could, take this burden off this child? Who wouldn't? We would, but we can't. But what we can do, and this is what she's saying, we didn't know then why we were led to go to this church, but they were. They didn't know what was coming, but it came. And they're fully supported by all of us, by all of them. You have everything you need, and you don't even know what you're going to need. But you have to trust this. This is true. God is walking with us every day, every moment of every single day. And even when you can't understand what exactly is happening right now, I've said that many times, George, what is happening right now? What do you want from me? In the moment, don't always understand. But if you look back and if you wait, it will be revealed. And you will know the love of God for you, for all of us, in everything we do every single day. God is here. God is with you. That's what I want you to know. That's what this time of year for me is all about, is looking back, is reflecting, is knowing for sure the love of God. Knowing for sure the love in you because you are individualized expressions of God. And that's why everybody shows up, because we are individualized expressions. We have to show up. That's ours to do. As individualized expressions, we have to show. We don't have any choice. Well, we always have choice. But it's calling us to help. It's always calling us. God is always calling us out, calling us into service, whatever it is. And so we answered the call. And so on Christmas, she, Jane, and that family shared with us what they discovered. And give thanks. Give thanks. They are so fully supported through what their family has to go through. And we don't know why. It's useless to ask why. Why does it matter? It is. It simply is. But while you're going through it, whatever it is you must go through, whatever your journey is, you are being fully supported through it. That's what we know for sure. So I wanted to just share that with you today. I know it's a little heavy, but this is the time of year, and I want us to be real about what God's love looks like. And whatever it is that we have to walk through, and we don't know why we happen to do it, we just do. And we don't need to bother with asking why is never going to come, but how. And the gifts in it will be evident as you finish walking through it. That's how we know that all is well. That was a question I was trying to answer. When I think about that gentleman, and he said, "How do you know? Stop saying that, it's too trite." I'm not saying it as a trite way. I'm saying it because I know it's true. Everything is going to be all right. It has to. It has to. Because God is, and we are, and all is always well. So what's ours to do? That's what I'm always wanting to leave with you. What's ours to do? Whenever you are anxious, whenever you are doubting, whenever you are worried, whenever you're not sure, look back. Just look back. It reminds me of that poem about thinking that you're walking along on the sand because all you saw on the beach, because all you saw was the one set of footprints. Look back. God is always there, carrying you, being with you, holding you, loving you. That we know for sure. So that's what's ours to do. Whenever you're anxious, reflect and look back. And just walk in faith. Faith is not about believing, it is about knowing. It's not about believing, it's about knowing. Knowing. And when you know, there's nothing to worry about. Even though you don't understand in the moment, you know already it's going to be all right. And for me, that is comforting and joyous and peaceful. I want to leave you with a couple of quotes. No matter what happens or how bad it seems today, life goes on and it will be better tomorrow. It will. It'll be better. Maya Angelou. From the Bible, from Philippians 4, be anxious for nothing, but in everything pray with thanksgiving. Let your requests be made known to God, and the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will be in your hearts and mind. It will be in your hearts and mind, the peace of God. No matter what, and this is the good news, life goes on. Life goes on. Life goes on, and God is with you and loving you. Know this to be true. Everything will be fine. Tides don't last forever, and when they go, they leave behind beautiful seashells. So it is.